Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Tony Rhodes with another episode on the Dr. Tony Rhodes podcast. So, today, what we're going to talk about is how to stay as healthy as you can while flying and traveling. So, what prompted this is it's summer and we have a lot of patients traveling, Europe, Hawaii, even quick little 2-3 hour flights, but it really can suck the life out of you traveling. And maybe it's because I just turned 40 and I'm just feeling it more and my body's not as resilient. But the older I've got, the more I've had to prepare with traveling just to bring my best when I go to my destination and when I come back. But also just how to, the reason this has come about is how to educate our patients the most on just how to keep their bodies as healthy as they can while they're traveling and enjoy their vacation the most, or if it's a business trip, how to get the most out of it and be the most mentally there that you can. So yeah, I've been thinking about this and taking notes, and so I'm going to record what I have found to be some effective strategies while traveling. So, number one, coming from a chiropractic perspective, it's getting adjusted before and after your travel. So, a lot of my patients, I tell them, hey, get adjusted, get tuned up, get your body moving as best as it can before your travels. And obviously, sitting and standing for a long periods of time can take a toll on your spine. So, scheduling that adjustment and or massage right when you get home as well can do wonders for your body, or even scheduling an adjustment or massage when you get to your destination. So that is one key that's definitely going to help, obviously, coming from a chiropractic perspective, especially if you're battling with neck or back pain. So, but prepping before you travel to me is one of the big things to coming out of a trip and going into it as healthy as you can. So, one thing that me and Brianne do before we travel is food prep. So, I don't know if you're like me, but trying to find anything, especially eating carnivore, high protein diet, it is near impossible to even find protein in the airport. I mean, I just call it garbage food. It's just carbs, processed, just garbage food everywhere in the airport. I mean, Portland is probably one of the better airports with some decent options, but some of the places we go, like we have a team of 12 people leaving this next weekend to Chicago. It's a big airport, and man, we can barely find any decent meals in there. So, one thing that I often do is food prep before we go. So, I eat carnivore, so high protein, high fat, minimal carbs. So I will, prepare, and I'll call the hotel, make sure they have a fridge, make sure they have a microwave or some way to heat our food up. And if they don't have a microwave, then bringing food that doesn't need to be heated. And if they don't have fridges, like we have conferences in Vegas, and a lot of those hotels don't have any of those options. It's bringing a cooler that we can put ice into and make sure our food is nice and fresh. So a lot of the times I will prepare, things like ground beef and ground turkey. And I can eat that cold, but you can heat that up as well. We'll also do hard boiled eggs. So I'll bring, 10, 20 hard boiled eggs, and we'll pack other things that are easy to prepare, or maybe they're already prepared, but just they're not as high in carbs as other foods, like some cheeses, and there's some healthy, we call them meat sticks, but kind of jerky and things like that are generally a lot healthier than French fries and just eating Burger King and things like that. So we will food prep, and I will bring a big cooler with me to the airport. So that'll be one of my, what do you call them? Not check on bags, but personal items. and we'll just bring a big cooler. And I used to think I'm going to look like a dork, or they just wouldn't let me do that, but you can. And Brianna will actually bring on yogurt into our carry-ons, and then stick it in the fridge when we get there. And so you can do that too. You can pack some food into your carry-on if it's dry and doesn't need to be cooled. So yeah, just taking some extra steps to food prep, because traveling already takes a toll on your body with the jet lag, with just the nasty air in the airplanes, the cabin pressure, the low humidity. You get dehydrated. And so if you're just eating crappy food on top of that, drinking alcohol on top of that, it's really going to tax your body. And so the better you can go into this, the better you're going to come out of it. So, and for me personally, we're going on a trip here to Chicago. We have 12 people going. There's a lot of investment into this trip, and I want to get the most out of it. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to have mental fog. These 2-3 days are very valuable for me, for our team. And so the last thing I want is just to be feeling like crap when I'm there. I need to get the most out of it and be as mentally sharp as I can. And so I know a lot of our patients and listeners too are traveling with a purpose, and they need to be mentally present. And I think of my brother too. He's a professional DJ. Look him up, DJ Eric Rhodes. He is TikTok famous, as they would call it, but he flies a lot, way more than me. I mean, probably 4 or 5 times in a month. And we talk about that, just, how to prepare and be as fresh as you can going into this. And he's got to perform when he gets there. People pay him good money to come and DJ their events. And so, yeah, food prepping. And also, that saves a lot of money too. There's, airport food. I mean, just getting any kind of protein, it's, sky high prices. So bringing your own food, and things that your body is used to is just going to help your gut, your mind, your body. Bringing empty water bottles. So we'll just bring empty water bottles, fill them up when we get through security, and trying to stay hydrated on your trip is important. When you're flying, the cabin pressure creates very low humidity. You've noticed that your skin really dries up, and just even like your mucous membranes can dry up. That's partially why you can get really sick, let alone all just a mixture of all the germs and bacteria that are floating around, and just the really dry air. So making sure you're well hydrated and hydrating through, and trying to stay away from, alcohol, staying away from carbonated beverages. So another thing that always perplexed me, and before I really researched it, I didn't really know why, but I would get, land and get home or wherever I was going, and my gut I could see it was bloated, and the air pressure will expand gases. And so the gases in our stomachs will expand. So if you ever feel like, man, why can't I, fit into these jeans, or you just feel bloated, that's partially why, is those gases expand. And so adding, I call it crap food and carbonated beverages into your diet is only going to make that worse. So making sure you just eat really clean, drink really clean on these trips is important. So stay hydrated. Another big tip is keep moving. So, a lot of patients that I work with have, back pain, hip, knees. So getting an aisle seat can help, so you can actually stretch your legs out into the middle, and then not having to ask someone, hey, can you get up? If you have a window seat, once an hour, I recommend getting up, once an hour, whether you need to go to the bathroom or not. Just act like it, go to the bathroom, get up and stretch. Movement is medicine. Your body needs to move, especially if you have some kind of back injury or knee issue or hip. Getting blood flowing, circulating through your muscles, through your body, will definitely help and somewhat negate any effects of just sitting. They say sitting is like the new smoking. So make sure you're getting up, you're moving, and especially when you land. So one thing that me and Brienne do to reduce on jet lag, to somewhat reset our circadian rhythm, is once we land, no matter what time of day, no matter how tired we are, we set our bags down, get our workout gear out, and we'll go do a 30-minute workout. So, and do a little bit of cardio, stretching, just make sure the blood flow is moving through our body, make sure our joints are moving, and make sure we're feeling our best. And that can also reduce on some of the brain fog, when we're going for business and our minds need to be sharp. To me, that really helps. It's tempting to get to that next location, check in, it's already stressful, you're already tired and you're hungry, and it's easy just to lay on the bed. And we're like, nope, we can't lay on the bed. We need to just boom, go work out no matter what time, do a 30-minute workout. And we even just have done, 20, 30-minute workouts in our room. Boom, right there. You don't need an awesome gym, but a lot of hotels have a great gym. So that's another tip, is just work out right when you get there and work out daily if you can when you are there. Um, and another big health scare for some people are blood clots. So just the sitting in the airplanes can increase. Some studies have shown 2 to 3 times increase or likelihood of getting blood clots, or they call them DVTs, or deep vein thrombosis, in your calves. Actually, one of our doctors here let me know that one of our mentors and somebody that I knew going through chiropractic school had calf pain, and it ended up being a DVT, a deep vein thrombosis. And so that is a scare too. And so that's another reason of hydrating, moving, even on the plane, getting up every hour. Even if you don't get up, just pumping your calves, and, sort of going on your tippy toes, just on your seat, just pumping your calves a little bit that way can help just increase a little bit of blood flow. But that can be a really big issue if you have a blood clot in your legs and it goes to your lungs. That can be a major issue. So that's another reason to keep your body moving when you're traveling. And that is another tip. And I just, alluded to it. But even if you're just sitting in your seat, a lot of patients, I'll tell them if they got a back issue, is, put your hand behind your back and press it into the seat, and then kind of arch your back and press it. I call them mini cat camels, so any way you can move your body, rock your hips back and forth, just these kind of micro movements. I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but it really can help versus just, being a brick and not moving at all while you're traveling. So, those are some big tips there. And yeah, that can keep your mind and body fresh. A few other things that can help, especially if you're dealing with, a neck or back issue, are bringing things like a neck pillow, a travel neck pillow. So if someone's really going through a hard time with a neck issue, I'll prescribe them, give them, one of those little travel neck pillows. That can make a huge difference, especially if you got a long flight, you're going to go to sleep. I mean, sleeping with your neck just totally cranked to the side. We all know how uncomfortable those airplane seats can be. Some of them have the little flaps next to your ears where you can, kind of lean your head a little one way, but having a nice pillow or a lower back brace or just a little back roll to give you a little bit of that lumbar support can really help. And I do have some patients bring their kind of memory foam pillows, like we call them, orthopedic pillows that help contour to the neck. But if you have check on, just bring your pillow. Um, it's funny, the older I get, I joke with some people that the more important those little things in your little toiletry bag become important when you're traveling. It's pretty funny where in your early 20s you could travel with just a backpack and be fine, but now we need all these things to stay at our best. But yeah, don't be embarrassed to bring your own pillow. I do that. Um, so yeah, those are my big travel tips, and doing a lot of these things, like I said, like, eating right, drinking the right things, and not eating, drinking a lot of alcohol, or diet cokes and pops and things are going to keep your immune system as healthy as it can. uh you know you're another thing that's not even really talked about that much, but a lot of people have anxiety when it comes to traveling, thinking, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna forget my passport." And just airports are stressful. So when your stress is high, your immune system, is not as strong. And then you're just around a lot of different people from different areas. You're on, planes with just poor circulation. Um, it will poor air circulation, not fresh air. So you're really prone to getting sick, and your mucous membranes are getting dried out. So you're not as protected there. So, I mean, that's why a lot of people get sick after they travel. So a lot of these tips can keep you healthy. And make sure you travel. If you're taking various supplements, take your supplements before and with you, and make sure you're taking those. And again, just to kind of recap this episode, is preparing before and after for your chiropractic, for your massage. So getting those adjustments, massage before you go, making sure your body's as good as it can be, and then, scheduling that follow-up adjustment, the day after you get home, the day you get home, and making sure your body is moving and as tuned up as it can be. So those are just a few tips to keep your body, your mind as healthy as you can as you travel out there. So I hope that was helpful. And if you know anybody traveling, and suffering from some of these things, please share this episode with them. That would be amazing. So thank you so much, and we'll be talking soon.